why do I bring up all these challenges? Because there's a huge opportunity for all of you, whether you decide to go into business or decide maybe to do something different and maybe start your own nonprofit. You don't necessarily have to go be an Ashoka Fellow. You can be a social entrepreneur. You can solve your own set of problems in your own community. In our border region, there are some daunting challenges, and these are just some of them. And we're in desperate need of social entrepreneurs to take some of these issues on.
The world of social enterprise, social entrepreneurship is, on the one hand, growing rapidly. On the other hand, it's also professionalizing. More and more people want to get into it. People compete endlessly to become an acumen winner or a prize a fellow at Ashoka, which is very exciting in one way, but in another way, it's almost replicating the model that we're trying to create alternatives to. I think it's a great question. What should a young aspiring social entrepreneur do to find their way into this? Do they need to go sign up at the blue chip investment firm alternative to Goldman that does social investing, or should they simply go to India and make themselves available on the ground as a volunteer and get real life experience and see where it leads them? I think it's really a conundrum. How do you break into this game? Go ahead.
So I have a couple of quick thoughts on that. So the first thing that I would just say is that this is a common problem with desirable jobs in any field, right? So any kind of great job, you're going to just have dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of applicants for the one position. Now, that's not a very satisfying answer, obviously. So my other two thoughts are very much along the lines of what Alan's suggesting. So either you get yourself involved with a particular problem and something that you care very passionately about, and you start thinking about what those solutions are and getting involved with the other firms or the not-for-profits that are on the ground trying to solve that problem. I've seen some students who've basically founded their own startups. Now, this is obviously not for the faint of heart or the risk-averse, but this is one path. And then the other path is to recognize that there are many organizations out there other than the Grameen Bank, these top, very well-known organizations, lots of other non-for-profits that are involved in similar kinds of problems, which is why I say if you can get yourself involved with a problem, see the organizations that are working on that, then you might be able to be more targeted and more informed about that specific problem, so you can make yourself more valuable in that sense.
The question was, should you join a big blue chip company? Please do join. Get sick and tired of it and be 100% motivated to do the thing your own way. Because if you don't join it in the beginning, you feel like, oh my God, I missed this opportunity. I could have gone to Wall Street. I had the potential to do this. You feel like somebody who trained all his lives and never made it to the Olympics because it didn't fit in the schedule. And so that's what you need to do. Get this extra energy. Because if you either start your own gig or you become employee number 5 at a company that somebody just about started, you need to be in there wholeheartedly. Otherwise, it doesn't work. This is a long, tough road. And, I always say, as an entrepreneur, or even if you work in an entrepreneurial environment, the good thing is you have free choices of when you work your 70 hours. That is wonderful when you do that. So that's my final.
I think it's also a matching problem. We need a monster.com equivalent that only focuses on social entrepreneurship. The opportunities are there in both large and small enterprises, and we just need to find the people and jobs that match it up. Yeah.
The myth that turned out to be true in my research is that social entrepreneurs think differently. They think differently. Now, there's a lot embedded in that. I mean, we try to figure out, well, how are they different from other high achievers? Are they really different? Or are they just another form of a high achiever, and all we need to do is pick a bunch of high achievers and direct some this direction and some that direction. And what makes social entrepreneurs different from other high achievers? And I said there wasn't a difference. And what we found in our research was that there is a difference. They're not more risk-seeking. That's a common myth about social entrepreneurs, that they're more risk-tolerant. That's not true. they appear to be more optimistic. And they engage in some rather impractical rules for decision, heuristics as we call them. They tend to be overconfident in their optimism. They tend to avoid counterfactual thinking, which is a fancy word for they don't question what they're doing. Okay? And they tend to use what's known as the representativeness heuristic, which is that they look at a single person or two and they say, that can be me, but we don't look at failure. Have you ever heard of a social entrepreneur who failed? Really? Tell me who it is when we're done. Because there is not good research on social entrepreneurship in terms of failure. And failure is a great teacher when put together with a control group design with successes. We know a lot of successes, but what do we know about not successes and how can we compare the two? But what we discovered was, yes, indeed, entrepreneurs in general in business, and then the limited research on social entrepreneurs in this particular space is that they do think differently. More optimistic, sometimes to the edge of overconfidence.
There are a lot of folks out there who are bright young talent. They heard about the Honest Tea story. When they leave school, they either want to start their own version of an Honest Tea or they want to join something that's a going concern. Give me one piece of practical advice for an aspiring social entrepreneur, either a landmine to avoid stepping on or a really great personal strategy for getting started on that path.
Okay, so that's a tall order. But I think that for budding entrepreneurs, basically the thing to think about is wanting to do good is not enough. That you have to have a business model that works. It has to have something that creates value, and it's not just enough, like I said, to be doing the right thing. You have to have both of those things together.
Okay, so follow your passion, but not if it leads you off a cliff. Oliver, what do you got for us?
Well, we have a entrepreneurship fellowship program at the school, and we include always a motto for that program. These are all students who are at the verge of starting their own business. And we have two mottos. The one is a little bit drastic, but the first one is fake it till you make it. And that is very important for an entrepreneur because we have to basically rely on others to give us money, ideas, etc. We would just, we call it beg, borrow, and steal, and get all these ideas, capital in our system. The second motto that we have is eat like a fly and poop like an elephant, which is on the similar way. It's even environmental friendly because you don't consume any resources and create a lot of manure. But the reason why we need that is you need to start from very, very humble beginnings, and most people get discouraged because the success is not coming overnight. And to forego a top-line corporate job that pays you mostly save money, and change it into something that you start in your pajamas at home. And if we look at Kevin Plank of Under Armour, he had to move back with his mom. That's not an easy choice. And so patience is key there.
Great. Ritu?
Well, my playing field is at the intersection of healthcare and technology. And as we've seen in this acrimonious debate around healthcare reform, if you want to be successful as a social entrepreneur in healthcare, and I think there's huge opportunities there, particularly with technology, the key thing you have to remember is how do you get the trust of the people who are going to be part of your company, the people who are going to contribute financial resources, the people who are going to be your customers. So getting the trust of the consumers is the key.
Trust is a must.
It's a must.
I guess, I guess the first thing would be like, okay, get your head around this idea of scale. What does that mean? I don't know that it needs to mean big. And you really can't be big before you're good. We had an idea that we would do some cart food, and it was going to be microfinance. It was about this crazy stuff. It was a great idea. And then I said, this is a little nuts. I mean, the McDonald brothers and Ray Kroc had a really good thing going, selling hamburgers, and they had it before they started franchising all around the country. and it's, you know, it became a turnkey. So the idea, I think, really is before we start thinking too big and scale and replication, let's make sure we got something that makes sense and that it can be done, and then let's move forward. You know, that I think is important.